money because you had special benefits and bailouts and protectionism from the government, that is wrong. But if you're big because you sold a good product to us and we bought it and you got rich, you have a right to be rich for doing that. We do know that ideas do have consequences, and an idea, as I've often said, as time has come, can't be stopped. I really believe we're here. I think we're here. They're not going to be able to stop us, but we have to learn to know how to spot the fluff, the baloney, and get rid of it. Don't listen to it. But you just can't hit them over the head with a 2x4. It seems like maybe that's the best way to do it at times. You know, some people claim that I have not been, and I don't express my outrage enough. You should be more outraged. Look at what they're doing to you. How did you ever put up with that? What did you do all this? Then they'll say to me, how did you ever put it up with this in Congress 30 years and you're not yelling and screaming? But have you ever thought about it? What if I became outraged at everything they did wrong? I'd have been worn out in about 5 years for sure. But we do need to sort it out. We do need to know the good ideas from the bad ideas. We do need to persuade people. And politics plays a role in this. And I feel very blessed that I was able to be a professional person, practice medicine, which my wife described as something I loved, and I did. One of the reasons why I went back to my practice after being in Washington for 6-7 years. And politics is something that is beneficial if I had not run for Congress. And I consider there's a lot of luck in politics and winning a seat. And I don't think there's any luck in taking your positions. I think that is a freedom of choice and you make those decisions. So, but anyways, being in the right place in the right time has a lot to do with it. But I think every one of us has a responsibility because people in an audience like this know and understand the problem. You have more insight than essentially almost everybody in Washington. And I guess that's no challenge. But the difficult task is you have more responsibility. And you say, and a lot of people say, well, and even in the introductions today, they talk about sacrifice. I don't think for a minute I sacrifice anything. I do it out of self-interest. I do it because I think it's good for me. I do it because, well, I enjoy ideas. I enjoy sorting out right from wrong, good ideas and bad ideas. And there's some fun in it. I always advise if you're in this business and you don't try to have some fun, like I hope we do the rest of the evening tonight too, is have some fun. Then you're going to get worn out. But once you come to the conclusion that you put this whole thing together, personal liberty, property rights, sound foreign policy, monetary policy, and then there's an enlightenment. It comes and a light goes on and you say, wow, this really comes together. So out of your own self-interest, you spread this message, but you first educate yourself, study and learn and learn how to give the answers. And you don't have to worry about what your job's going to be. If you know the answers and you speak out and you're available, somebody will use you. And it may be in politics. You may run for office. You may organize. Who knows what it'll be? And but the obligation is there. You have an obligation to do your very best to change this because it's in your interest, in your family's interest. It's the interest of our country. When we do this, we have to aim high. We have to be very idealistic. We have to use reason, and we have to have passion. We have to have passion for this. This will convert people rather than grabbing them by the collar and saying, don't you understand what I'm saying? Listen to me. It doesn't work, I'll tell you that. It just doesn't work. A soft answer sometimes is a lot better. A soft answer in Washington doesn't seem to help too much, but when you're persuading your friends, soft answers and discussion is a good way to convince people. This whole idea of describing it as a one unit, that you don't have economic freedom and personal liberty and they're separate, no, it's all one issue. And also, if they get very confused and they say, well, I don't quite understand that, just tell them freedom is popular. That's the reason. And the basic rule that drives this whole philosophy is the rejection of violence. You don't kill other people, you don't take their property, you tolerate other people. And just think about this for a minute. Freedom should bring us together. It should never be divisive, because in this room there might be 1,000 different reasons why you want your freedom. You might want it for personal reasons, economic reasons, religious reasons, intellectual reasons. But if you all agree on liberty, you don't have to worry what the other guy's doing, the other person, or how they dress, or what they say, or what they do. We all should come together to defend liberty. Giving up this initiation of force or violence is very important. I mean, we live with a lot of violence, state violence, police violence, individual violence, and we're in a very violent culture. And I think it's a result, and this is my own theory, I think it comes from the fact that welfareism and socialism doesn't generate a sense of self-esteem. And it generates... Instead of generating an understanding and enjoyment of liberty, it generates this idea that somebody owes me something. And this is very negative. And then I think self-esteem comes from production, where you feel good about yourself, that you did something. Now, some people can produce computers. There can be a Steve Jobs. I couldn't possibly be a Steve Jobs, but I bet his satisfaction came as much from producing things as it was for just getting another $1 billion. You know, I don't think that's it. It is self-esteem and confidence. But everybody's self-esteem and confidence from producing comes differently. It might be raising a family. It might be doing your job well. You know, you're doing your job well. Various ways. But the self-esteem, to me, seems to be so important. I am convinced that when people lose their self-esteem, they're more likely to do violence to others because they don't even have enough respect for themselves. So injuring others doesn't matter. And maybe those who redistribute wealth suffer from that same problem. Oh yeah, superficially they want to redistribute wealth and take care of everybody, but they too might not have enough self-esteem to understand where it really comes from. My personal goal with my politics and my personal life is that a free society provides me an opportunity to seek virtue and excellence. And that should be a personal goal. And in doing that, it is better done in a free society. If the government takes over the rule of trying to make you a better person, an excellent person, and make you virtuous, it's all over. It's all over. That is the seeds of an authoritarian society. So instead of seeing this as a continuation of an era of the 20th century that gave us so much death and destruction and undermining of our liberties and conditions today that are so dangerous, let us think that we are now moving into a new era where we're going to concentrate on liberty and freedom and property and peace. I believe that is the cause that we should lead, and I thank you very much for being part of it. Thank you. Thank you.
you want to have the last wave, the motorcade will be leaving on Elm Street. For those of you who've been part of those sign waving goodbye and hello to the Ron Paul family, they'll be leaving on Elm Street if you wanted to line up there and say goodbye. And for the delegates, please, all the delegates you can find, go right to where the buses dropped you off, and the buses will pick you up and take you to Whiskey Joe's. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are the future. You're welcome.